if you want better balance, then these 7 steps will show you how to get it. Hey there, I'm Coach Tyler, and balance is essential, especially as you age. In fact, you know one of the #1 reasons that people lose the ability to stand up and walk is because they fall. And they fall because they have bad balance. Now, there's 2 things that you need to improve if you want to improve your balance. The first is the sensory feedback that your body is giving you. And the second is the coordination that you have to be able to apply that sensory feedback into creating better balance. And today, I'm gonna show you 7 steps that you need to take, each one progressively just a little bit harder than the last one, that will teach you how to develop better balance. So let's jump on over to step number 1. For step number 1, we have to focus on the main sensory input for developing better balance, which is all of the nerves that touch your foot. So for right now, we're gonna focus on activating the arches and the toes by focusing on your foot. Hey, if you want better balance, focus on your foot. You see, most people, their toes get squished in like this because of the shoes that we're wearing. And that can cause a lot of pain in your feet, and then your toes aren't active. Oftentimes, the arch can start to flatten out as well. So how do we fix that? Well, first, we start by spreading our toes. You can do this with your fingers. You can do this by just spreading your toes as wide as possible. From there, grip the ground with your toes and imagine you're trying to tilt your ankle a little bit this way to activate your arch. The more you squeeze with your toes and activate your arch, the more you'll feel all these muscles working. Squeeze for a few seconds and then relax back to your regular position. Make sure you practice activating your foot in this manner before you do all of the next steps. Otherwise, let's move on to step 2. Okay, now that you know how to activate your feet and give you the proper sensory feedback that you need to start developing better coordination and balance, the next step is to aim to be upright. Now, what does that mean? When we're practicing all of these balance drills that are coming up next, what you're gonna wanna focus on is making sure that your body is in upright position. Now, it's totally fine if your body starts to deviate from the center from side to side, but the way to think about this is my belly button directly underneath my nose? So as I'm doing this balance drills, am I having a nice tall posture? Am I constantly striving to drive my head towards the ceiling? And is my belly button right over my nose? As long as we feel this proprioceptive feedback of whether our nose is above our belly button or not, that's gonna give us a sense of whether or not we're properly balancing. As an example, when you get into the later steps and you're working on one leg balances, if you find yourself standing like this a lot where your nose is not over your belly button, that's gonna actually end up causing you to develop things like hip pain and possibly knee pain. But if we upright ourselves over our foot, over our belly button, over our nose in one straight line, now all of a sudden everything is stacked in perfect alignment so we don't end up injuring ourselves. I know this is a lot. The big thing you gotta focus on is aiming for upright. So just aim for upright throughout all of the steps that are coming up next. All right, let's now move on to the first variation, which is a very beginner variation of starting to improve your balance in step number 3. Okay, now that you know how to activate your feet and you have the principle of trying to aim to be upright, let's move on to step number 3, which is our first step in actually improving your balance. Now, there's this principle called the SAID principle when it comes to physiology and biomechanics, which means specific adaptation to imposed demands. Now, I know this is a mouthful, but what that really means is in order to get better balance, we should practice balancing. And the next steps are gonna go through a simple progression, slowly becoming harder than the last one, that will help you improve that coordination and balance as it relates to the sensory feedback you're getting from your feet. So for this step, for step number 3, you're gonna put your feet nice and close together. You're gonna squeeze the ground with the toes and activate the arches. From there, you're gonna get a nice tall posture and make sure you're aiming for upright, and you're gonna use a support to the outside of you if you need that support. Now, this might be too simple for most of you, but for some people that don't have great balance, this is gonna be a great drill to practice. Now, the goal is, can you stand upright in this position with your feet active while using just your fingertips for support on the wall or on the chair for a full minute? If you're able to do this for a full minute, then move on to step number 4. If you're not able to do this for a full minute, then keep practicing this every single day, slowly increasing the time until you're able to do this for a full minute, then move on to step number 4. For step number 4, we're gonna reduce your ability to balance by removing the hand. So we're gonna do the same thing by putting our feet close together, spreading our toes, activating the arches, and squeezing the ground with the toes. Nice tall posture, aiming for upright. Now this time, we're not gonna use the chair, and all we're gonna do is leave our hands by our sides and see if we can practice balancing in this nice tall posture position without tipping over, again, working up towards 60 seconds of time on your feet in this position. Now, if you're able to do this, then you can move on to step 5. If you're not able to do this, Keep practicing, slowly increasing the time. Make sure you have a chair or a wall next door to you so you can grab something for support if you need it. And once you're able to achieve 1 minute of balancing with your feet right next to each other, staying upright and making sure your toes and your arches are active, then move on to step 5. Okay, for step 5, we're gonna make a big jump. We're gonna start to build your body's ability to balance on one leg. Now, this is a core skill that represents balance in most people. And so if you practice it, it will improve your balance and really reduce the risk of injuring yourself through things like falling, okay? So what you're gonna do is start by grabbing onto a chair or a wall for support. From there, you're gonna put one foot down this time, you're gonna squeeze the ground with the toes, and you're gonna activate the arch like we described in step number 1. From there, you're gonna stay upright, aim for upright, shift your body weight over the foot by bringing your belly button over the heel and your nose over your belly button. Now, slowly lift the other foot and using support from the chair or the wall, see if you can hold a one-leg balance position for 60 seconds. Now, if this is too hard for you, maybe it's too hard for your muscles, maybe it's too hard for your balance, slowly work up to 60 seconds, starting in 10-second increments. So starting 10 seconds, maybe resting for a little while, 10 seconds, resting for a little while, then going to 20, 30, 40, 50, and eventually 60. Once you're able to hold a single leg balance for 60 seconds, where you're not grabbing onto the chair or the wall for support, but you're just using your fingertips on the chair or the wall, then it's time to move on to step number 6. Okay, for step number 6, we're gonna take another big leap by having you balance on a single leg without support, with the goal of doing it for 60 seconds. So just like before, we're gonna put the foot down, we're gonna squeeze the ground with the toes and activate the arch. Then we're gonna transfer our weight over that foot with our belly button over our heel and our nose over our belly button. So we're gonna aim for upright. From that position, slowly lift one leg and just bring your arms either down by your sides or out to the sides for extra balance. Make sure there's a nice chair or a wall next to you that you can catch yourself on just in case you need support. And if you need to, you can tap that foot on the ground for support. Now the goal is, can you hold this position again for 60 full seconds? If you can't, work up in 10-second increments just like you did before. And eventually you'll work up to that 60 seconds being able to stand on one leg, and always make sure not to neglect the other leg, switch sides and practice on the other side as well. Now once you're able to do 60 seconds on one leg like this, then I have one more step for you in step 7. Okay, for step number 7, we're gonna take this to the next level. So here's what you're gonna do. Grab an object in your house, maybe your cell phone. That's an easy one to have a lot of concern for passing around with grace, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna apply that foot on the ground, just like we did before, activate the arches, activate the toes, okay? Shift our body weight, our belly button and our nose over that one foot, and find our single leg balance. Now we're gonna take that object and we're gonna slowly pass it behind our back and then in front of our body. And we're gonna go around the world like this for 30 seconds, going one direction, and then we're gonna switch directions and go 30 seconds for the other direction. So by adding movement into your balance drill, it makes it significantly harder, but it gives you more coordination, which ultimately gives you more balance. Now, if you've worked up to the ability to do 60 seconds on your right leg and 60 seconds on your left leg, passing something around your body like this, well, then you will have followed these 7 steps to improve your balance in a meaningful way to help you feel so much better in your body. Hey, while these 7 steps are great, if you really want to improve your balance, strength, and coordination across your whole body, then you have to try WeShape, where we deliver personalized workout plans based on your goals, your age, and your capabilities. To try this out, all you gotta do is click the link below. Otherwise, if you're having trouble developing the balance to stand on one foot, well then this video right here might help.